So just today, the Nobel Peace Prize award has been announced to be awarded to a Chinese dissident, and he is currently in prison in China. His name is Liu Xiaobo. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. I apologize for that. And he is in prison, obviously, because of speaking out against the government, for being a dissent, for spreading dissent. And I think it just shows the irony of the situation. A person in prison is getting an award for peace. I think it should show the Chinese government that, what you're doing is wrong. You can't silence people for dissent. Freedom of speech is so important, and you need it in China. That's the one thing, between India and China, the one thing that you can say that's holding back China, and China had a head start on India. These two countries are competing with each other, and China had a head start because India was colonized for so long, hundreds of years. But in spite of that, the one thing that India has over China is freedom. Freedom is the most important thing in the world. There's nothing more important. Because if you're not free, you might as well be dead. You might as well. Because how can you live your life without freedom? Take it from me. Okay, I know I can't live my life without being free. And well, the big question is, what's so important about freedom of speech? Why is that important? Why does that matter? Why is it okay to have dissent? You have to allow for the possibility that you're wrong. And you have to allow for the possibility that other people might have new ideas and things that that might motivate change. Because like a life form, society needs to change. It needs to adapt to changing circumstances. It's a life form in and of itself. The environment changes, so it has to adapt. If you don't adapt, you go extinct. And if you're stagnating with a dictatorship government, or a dictatorial government, whatever the fuck it's called, a fascist government, they control everything, so they can dictate whatever they want. They don't have to listen to the people. They don't have to listen to voices of change, voices of dissent. They can make things however they want it to be. Whatever they think is right goes. Well, what if they're wrong? And humans are fallible, so they can be wrong very often. Well, then that's the weakest link right there. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. In this case, the Chinese government. Now, I'm not saying in every case it's a bad thing. Certainly there's problems in democracy that hold it back. Bureaucracy which bogs down the process. Even in economics, you can see this happening, with trade regulations and things like that. But the point is, though, that the good outweighs the bad. And on the whole, when you look at it from a broad perspective, the good definitely outweighs the bad. So this is probably the best system that there is. You can't find a better system. A secular government. I was in Islam club the other day. I don't know if I told you guys that. I'm going to Islam club, not to turn into a Muslim, but to learn some stuff. I just want to learn as much as I can about other religions and shit like that. And actually, this is probably worth making a whole video on, but briefly, I just want to mention, they were talking about how the Islamic Empire was once the most powerful empire in the world, and in fact, it was. They were very powerful. But the reason why they were powerful was because they had a secular government, and they don't have that anymore. Their governments are now theocracies, and that's plunged them back into the dark ages, really. And the West has been able to overtake them and eventually take over. I have no doubt that that's not going to last forever, but it won't be the Muslims who are going to rise to power. Now it's going to be other countries like India or probably, maybe, the European Union stands a chance if they can ever actually unite. I doubt they can. I have my doubts about that, but if they can, then yeah, definitely they're a contender. And China, of course, but China needs to. It has its problems. It has so much going for it, but I think this Peace Prize really highlights the problem. The one people who were opposed to this Peace Prize was ironically China. They said, "Oh, yeah, this undermines what the Peace Prize is about." The thing that undermined what the Peace Prize was about was the fact that they never gave the Peace Prize to Mohandas K. Gandhi. And this guy, if anybody was an icon for peace, it was him, and he never got the Peace Prize, which is a tragedy. And I think I don't know why the hell they never gave it to him. I'm sure they have some kind of lame excuse, but. Anyway, this I agree with the decision to award this Peace Prize to this man who struggled for what he believed in and was willing to go to prison for it, just like Nelson Mandela. He was willing to sacrifice his freedom for the freedom of his people, and that's very powerful.